Welcome to S44 Intel. Hormuz escalation is entering a new operational phase as live fire activity overlaps with a surge in ISR flights and carrier force integration. This convergence sharply increases maritime incident risk and short notice strike potential. In this briefing, we break down what the ISR spike means, how pressure is being layered across air and naval domains, and why proximity operations now represent the most immediate escalation trigger. Here is the current operational assessment, beginning with Iranian reconnaissance activity. An Iranian drone has been observed operating over the Persian Gulf and along Qatar's coastline. This activity is assessed as reconnaissance of United States and regional assets based around major basing hubs. Operationally, this reflects reciprocal shadowing behavior. Iran is sustaining a contact layer intelligence picture around critical facilities, improving queuing and reaction timelines in the event of escalation. Shifting to United States intelligence preparation. Surveillance activity over southern Iran has increased to near daily tempo, with missions observed on 11 of the last 14 days. MQ-4C Triton long-endurance surveillance aircraft were active across multiple dates. P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft were also observed operating in the region. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group arrived on January 27, coinciding with the peak of this ISR activity. This synchronization is operationally significant. It reflects late-stage intelligence preparation of the battle space, including target refresh, emitter mapping, and maritime littoral integration ahead of potential operational decision windows. Now to political signaling associated with this posture. Public statements from United States leadership continue to emphasize deterrence language, including threats of intensified response following any attack. While rhetoric alone does not determine outcomes, its alignment with physical ISR buildup increases signaling credibility and decision pressure. Shifting to economic and legal escalation. The United States Treasury has announced expanded sanctions targeting Iranian officials and financial networks tied to sanctions evasion and digital asset activity. Senior Treasury messaging frames this as support for the Iranian population, while highlighting elite capital flight and cyber financing concerns. Operationally, this represents the economic warfare layer being tightened in parallel with military readiness. It is designed to justify escalation, increase regime pressure, and preserve leverage even if kinetic decisions remain pending. Now to maritime risk management and Hormuz signaling. CENTCOM has issued a public statement urging Iranian naval exercises in the Strait of Hormuz area to be conducted safely and professionally. The statement emphasizes Hormuz as a high-volume international passage corridor and explicitly acknowledges Iran's right to operate professionally in international airspace and waters. This language is calibrated and it serves two functions. First, it attempts to deter unsafe proximity behavior that could trigger collision or incident-driven escalation. Second, it preserves legal positioning by avoiding total exclusion framing while maintaining operational freedom. The acknowledgement itself is structurally important. It indicates that deconfliction and escalation control are being actively managed at command level. Shifting to coalition signaling and regional political posture. Israeli military leadership has publicly asserted that the United States will attack Iran. Even at high confidence, this remains an intent assertion rather than execution confirmation. Functionally, it serves domestic expectation management, coalition signaling, and deterrence messaging toward Tehran. At the same time, reporting indicates Saudi leadership has privately communicated concern that failure to follow through on coercive pressure could strengthen Iran's regional position. If accurate, this represents a key coalition variable. It suggests elevated Saudi threat perception and an attempt to influence United States decision calculus behind closed doors. Now to contested multinational naval messaging. Previous reporting indicated Russian and Chinese participation in Iranian naval exercises. Tehran has since denied joint drill coordination. This contradiction reflects classic fog of war information competition. Either scenario carries signaling value. If real, it signals alignment optics. If exaggerated, the denial itself indicates Iranian sensitivity to block formation perception. Shifting to Iranian retaliation signaling. The IRGC has conducted missile tests in Abbas and Iraq, including Fateh series launches. These tests reinforce conventional retaliation credibility and anchor Iran's deterrence messaging around missile response capacity. Now to diplomatic channel activity. Qatar's foreign minister has conducted shuttle diplomacy to Tehran. This aligns with Qatar's traditional role as a communications conduit when direct United States-Iran engagement is constrained. At the same time, Iranian internal messaging suggests negotiation structures are being prepared despite hostile media narratives. This combination reflects parallel pressure release efforts running alongside military readiness buildup. Finally, shifting to Iranian narrative positioning. Iranian Foreign Ministry messaging challenges CENTCOM deconfliction language, while portraying the IRGC as a protector of maritime stability. This narrative warfare layer is aimed at shaping regional and global opinion, delegitimizing foreign military presence, and preparing rhetorical justification for future enforcement actions while claiming responsibility for freedom of navigation. Analyst Assessment. This pattern reflects entry into a high-density intelligence preparation phase. Near-daily ISR coverage synchronized with carrier arrival indicates active option validation rather than routine monitoring. Economic and legal escalation is being layered in parallel to sustain course of pressure regardless of kinetic outcomes. Maritime risk management language from CENTCOM confirms that proximity operations around Hormuz are now viewed as the most immediate and controlled escalation risk. This does not confirm strike authorization. It does not establish execution timelines. It does indicate that the decision environment is compressing as readiness, pressure, and diplomacy operate simultaneously. Escalation ladder update. Current placement, Phase 3 entry conditions forming. Reasoning. ISR saturation reflects late-stage intelligence preparation of the battle space. Carrier integration aligns force posture with information dominance. Sanctions escalation adds political and economic pressure synchronization. Hormuz deconfliction messaging highlights proximity risk management under live fire conditions. Active shuttle diplomacy indicates off-ramp attempts continuing under rising operational pressure. Bottom line, the operational environment is entering a convergence phase. Near-daily United States ISR activity over southern Iran, aligned with the arrival of the USS Abraham Lincoln, indicates active strike readiness validation. At the same time, Washington is tightening economic and legal pressure while CENTCOM attempts to manage Hormuz proximity risk through calibrated messaging. Coalition actors are applying parallel political pressure, while Qatar and Iranian officials signal continued off-ramp attempts. The most immediate escalation trigger remains incident-driven contact risk in the Gulf and Strait of Hormuz, occurring under elevated ISR density, live-fire windows, and heightened retaliatory posture. This concludes the current operational assessment. S44 Intel will continue tracking ISR density patterns, maritime proximity activity, sanctions escalation dynamics, and diplomatic channel movement across the region. Stay informed. Stay analytical. End of report.